Hello and welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Merete and I'm speaking to you from Denmark. If this is your first time tuning into my podcast is usually about my own ideas and how I can alter designs. I get a lot of ideas and I like to get inspired from others and I like to inspire back. So that's why I've decided to make this podcast. I'm speaking to you in English instead of Danish because a lot of people that find me on Instagram, where I'm mostly active, are not from Denmark usually, but some are. So I just decided to make this knitting podcast in English to reach out to as many people as possible. I'm not the most typical knitter, I think, when you think of knitters from Scandinavia. I like to knit very colorful projects, and I'm very fascinated with Stephen West's and his universe, and also I'm very inspired by Prince. I'm a big Prince fan. You will find that out in this episode too. Yes, last episode was quite long, so my ambition is to make this a bit shorter, a lot shorter. I will talk about my projects and what I'm currently inspired of. Yes, and then I also want to talk a bit about the knitting festival Fanø here in Denmark, which I attended, and also recently attended another festival this past weekend just for an hour or so to buy some yarn. This is the topic for today, and just as a short follow-up, the last episode was quite emotional for me because I was waiting on response on my economic and how that has turned out, because I'm on sick leave because of stress, and I have finally gotten that approved. So things are much happier now. Can relax a bit and not worry about the economic all the time. So for people who know that how that is, it can be really exhausting. Yes, let's get started. You're probably wondering what I'm wearing today, and it's quite hard for me to find things to wear in a knitting podcast because it gets so warm. So I'm probably gonna take this off pretty soon. But the sweater I'm wearing today is a test knit I did for Charlotte Spagner, a Danish designer, and she does a lot of hand-dyed yarn, and she's done this really beautiful design. It's called Bali. And it's knitted with a DK weight yarn that she has. She is dyeing, and I just got some fiber in my and it's knitted with a lot of pearl stitches, or you could just turn it around and knit it on the wrong side with just stockinette stitch. And it's knitted with two yarns where you stripe it, like 2 rows of one color and 2 rows of the other color. So this gives this really neat effect. And these stars are cables, and it looks kind of like braids or something. It's really neat. And this one is actually not as colorful as some of the things that I'm usually wearing. When I ordered the yarn, I figured that the orange was more bright, so I had in my mind that it would be more bright, but actually I kind of like it this way because it got colors that are really easy to wear. And then I just want to show off my alpaca earrings that I got this weekend at a festival. I thought that was really, really cute, and they weren't really expensive either. Yes. So let's talk a little about the Fanø festival. It wasn't really I wasn't really supposed to go there. So people around me laugh because when I found out Stephen West was having workshops in Denmark in July, I decided to do those workshops instead of Fanø. So I wasn't supposed to go there, but then, like, I don't know, when we got closer, I just couldn't really stay away. And a friend asked me if I wanted to go with her and get a room so we could spend the night, and that was really nice because then I knew I could relax after the first day and still have some time the second day. And Fanø is this really neat Danish little island that has this kind of rough nature to it and a lot of history. And if you want to know more about the island, I can recommend you to go to Fruity Knitting Podcast with Christel Seyfarth. She's talking about a lot about the island, and she got some really neat stories. She's the one hosting the festival too, so I can recommend you to go and check that out. And last year I went shortly, and it was a really, really bad weather. So this year was kind of exciting to see how the weather was, but it was really, really nice. And so it was just really great to go through the city and explore it. I didn't go to any workshops. I only went to the small shops of yarn that they had put up at the school and at the sports place. I don't know what you call that, where you have sports events. I went there, and there was a lot of people, and I did buy some yarn, but not a lot of yarn, but I did buy some. There were a few Danish hand dyes that I wanted to shop with, at, so I was kind of looking for those, and I managed to find at least 2 of them. And then I did went to like a little knitting event on Thursday, and that was really fun. We got to sit next to some 4 Dutch girls that was really, really sweet and funny to be with. We had a great time, and I actually now it's gonna be a little bit funny for them if they watch this, because one of them was well, actually I should tell that there was this introduction by a Danish woman, and she was only speaking in Danish, and I was like, there was Dutch people sitting on one side and German people sitting on the other side, and they weren't understanding anything. And she was talking about how to knit a Fair Isle scarves and our shawls, and after she did finished her talk, these Dutch women turned to us and asked, "What did she say?" And actually, it turned out they understood quite a lot of what was said, because the Danish and the Dutch language is a bit similar some ways, and so that was really funny. And then one of the Dutch women were knitting quite in a special way I hadn't seen before. Is the Portuguese knitting style, and she was knitting a Fair Isle project, and this was really interesting for me because first of all, she had these small hooks placed in her top, and with the yarn going through, and she was knitting in front of her like this, but with the right side of the work facing me and not herself. She was looking at the wrong side while knitting the fair isle. And I asked if I could film her, and that was okay, and I can and she said it was okay that I put it into my next podcast. So I'm just gonna put it in here so you can see how that looks. It's just a few seconds. So I'm back, and I hope you enjoyed that. It's really interesting. She said she had taught herself to knit that way because she could never get the gauge right before when she was knitting English style. So so that was a choice for her to get to learn that. And if you're interested in what she is knitting her own fair isle designs, and I should tell her that her Instagram name is probably a bit difficult for me to pronounce, but Aya Handmade, and I will put the information in my in the text below so you can go and look her up. And she's doing some really neat fair isle designs because they are not like they're more like modern or fresh, or it's some really neat project. And because I'm a Prince fan, I quickly saw that she had also done I think it was a cowl she had done with the paisley pattern that the Prince uses a lot. So I was like, you have to do something with the paisley pattern in a clutch or a bag or something. And she wrote me a few days ago and said that she's actually dropped everything she was working on and has started on a bag with paisley pattern. So I'm really excited about that. So I guess I have to knit fair isle at one point. And actually I do also have another project coming up with color work in that looks a bit like fair isle. So that's interesting. And now I'm hot, so I'm just gonna stop this and get it off. Hi, so you didn't need to see me taking off my clothes. So that was really nice. And then also my friend and I did have a talk at one point about yarns that I want to share with you, because she said, I have this really nice yarn in my stash at home, and I just don't know what to use it for, because I want to choose something that is really special for. And I don't know if you relate to that. I think a lot of knitters relate to that. That's at some point we have bought this really nice yarn and just waiting for the right project that we could put it in, and then it's usually just in our stash for a very long time if it's ever knitted with. So so I said to her, there's only one solution for that. We just have to buy more really nice yarn, so we don't have anything but nice yarn, because then we will always pick nice yarn for our projects. So just an idea for you if you want to use that in the future. I definitely kind of went for that at these two knitting festivals, because I got some really nice yarn. And yeah, I will show you that for some of the projects that I'm planning on. And I don't know if you recognize my settings today. I actually got my mannequin doll in the background, And it's because for my birthday I was gifted by a circle light lamp that I'm trying to use today. So I hope that the lighting in this podcast is better, but that actually means that I can show a project on my mannequin and show you how I work with it. I'm really excited about that. So yes, so I'm looking at my notes, which is below me. So I want to talk to you about my finished objects. So I have lined some of it up, and some of it I talked about last time. I have knitted these waving hats. The design is from Stephen West, and I have tried out to knit them with more than one color. And in this, I just wanted to try out how different yellow colors would work together. And I put this kind of pale pink mohair going with the darker yellow, so it got kind of like this taint of some pink in it. And I really like this hat. I don't know, this is like one of those projects where I have been so satisfied with the yarn and the outcome that this is something where I think about how important it is to choose the right yarn, because it just makes this result so much better that you have chosen the right yarn. I don't know if you can see it, but there got some glitter in the light yellow. I just love it. And then I've knitted 4 of these hats now. 2 of them I've gifted to my parents, and this one is for my husband. So it's knitted flat for most of the part, starting with this white section. It's actually more of a light blue going together with some hand-dyed yarn I had in my stash. And then you knit this red part here, and then the blue part up here, and then you knit this red part back here, and then it is sewn together here and here, and then you can knit in a round in the top and knit here, pick up stitches to knit the last piece here. And it's really fun, quick knit and really fun. And I don't know, I could knit some more of these, just to try out colors. It's really fun, and it doesn't use that much yarn either, so I really like that one. And what else did I finish? I talked about last time that I wanted to do a test knit of my own design that is being test knitted right now, Fringes and Pearls sweater. And I have made this for my 11-year-old daughter, and she I will just say that I was supposed to knit a size small, but this one has become even smaller because she got like really skinny body type. So to make it fit her, I needed to make it a bit smaller. And for this version, I only used the same yarn throughout, except for the middle panel. If you want to know more about the yarns, I recommend you to, and the sweater, I recommend you to go and see the previous podcasts, just so I don't talk a whole lot about this again. It's gonna be too boring. I just wanted to show you quickly how it turned out, and I think it's really cute. And she can't wait to wear it. She wanted to wear it today, but she was going to have some classes where she had to work with some wood and saws, and she wouldn't wear it, and that's fine. So she will wear it soon. And then I talked about that I was working on the Surino Symphony shawl designed by Stephen West the last time. And this is how it looks like now. It is designed with a brioche border at the bottom, and I did that with a curry yellow mohair, but then I had run out of the main color, which is this really beautiful Madeleine touch with glitter yarn, and I did run out of that and I had to use another one, and I chose a dark gray and knitted it together with a metallic black thread to get the glitter effect in it, but it just, I didn't like it. It just didn't look good together with the Madeleine touch yarn, so I unraveled. This just shows me how important it is for me to choose nice yarns all through the project and not make these quick fixes, because I just end up not liking them. So at the moment I just ended up unraveling and make a I-cord bind off on it, and it's really pretty, and it does look big enough, but if I want to wear it like as a scarf, it just doesn't work. Let's see here, it's too short. But if I want to wear it as a shawl, it works perfect. Like just a small shawl with a pretty dress. But I probably I'm not the biggest shawl person. So I'm actually thinking about gifting this to my mom. But these colors aren't her colors, so I'm gonna try out and take it to her the next time I see her and see if she likes it, and if she really likes it, I'm gonna gift it to her for Christmas. And if she doesn't like it, I don't know. I will probably figure out how to wear it. I really like the design. I think it's really pretty, but it's not really wearable for me, at least. So that was my finished objects, and then for my current projects, let's move on to those. Last time I wanted to cast on a sweater with blue colors, with these colors, and I did start out knitting it. Let's see what's the front of it, like this. It's got this brioche color, and then I'm have started knitting the bottom, but then I stopped because I'm not really enjoying this blue yarn. I really like the color of it, but it turns out that it's for a really thin needle size, a small needle size, so I have started to knitting it double, but I just have this worry that it's gonna be too warm. So at the moment it's just resting, so I will try and figure out what to do with it next. I was trying to knit it, actually I was knitting it from the wrong side and doing stockinette stitch, and then I was trying to do I think I'm quite confused actually about what this stitch is called, but it's kind of look like a brioche stitch, but the stitches in between are not brioche stitches, they are just regular stitches, and so this gives this kind of neat look. And I was trying to like make these become longer and longer around, so it would kind of start in the middle and then like go like this around something. But at the moment I'm really into a technique I've seen a lot used on Instagram at the moment. It's I think it's called Brioche and garter technique, because it's combined with sections of brioche and then sections of garter stitch and then sections of brioche, and then you can do these really cool shapes, and you can in the brioche part you can make the dark color stand out in the first brioche part and then the light color in the next, so it gets these color changes all the time, and I'm really interested in learning that. I don't know, if you want to see how that looks, I would recommend you to go to Sosunet's Instagram profile. She has just posted 2 tests knits with this technique, with some really gorgeous shawls. I did consider like for a moment that I could participate, but I know myself that I can't do a completely shawl only in brioche. So I need something that changes during the project. So I'm just trying to see if I can do some small swatch where I can try out and see if it works, and I think I'll figure out the technique now. So this will probably be something like that at one point. And then I want to show you this piece back here. This was actually yarn that I had bought. It's called Drops Air. This one is just in a ball right now, but I bought it last summer, and I had this idea of a sweater I wanted to do with cables, and I'm gonna insert a picture right here. And I tried to figure out a pattern, and then the yarn has just been laying around for a long time because I didn't feel brave enough to do it, and I didn't talk about it as a future project the last time because I didn't know that I was going to suddenly grab it and just go with it. And so, but I did. A few days ago I just decided, okay, I just need to get going, because I think I have gotten the confidence now that I can just knit it without a pattern, and I can just unravel and try out as I go and just cast on those stitches and then let's go. Because I don't know, for some reason when you first have those stitches on your needles, it's much easier to get it knitted than just looking at the yarn. So I decided to start it out, and this is the project on my mannequin, and I'm just gonna take it forward so you can see it. So I couldn't get the technique quite the same with the bubbles as in the pictures, so I just decided to do simple bubbles that it's the same kind of bubbles that are used in the Surino Symphony shawl and other Stephen West projects. So I figured those were easy, I could do those. And I just started knitting the collar, and I was trying actually to make it go over the shoulders like this as in the pictures, but then I kind of realized that I wouldn't feel that that was a really comfy sweater for me. So I decided just to and also maybe I didn't have enough stitches actually. So I decided to make contiguous shoulders instead. So you can see I had these a few stitches on on the shoulder, and I started taking out stitches here on every row, and then on every second row when I got a bit down. So this is kind of where I'm at now. And on the other side, for this part, I didn't make any increases, but I have started making increases now here. So, and I've made the cable. So it's coming along pretty nice, I think. The bubbles aren't really that clear, but it's got this really supple look. And I went to my knitting group last night, and I was knitting on it, and one of them said, "You're only knitting with one color? What's wrong with you?" But I think the challenge of just knitting without a pattern here is a lot of I get a lot of out of it without needing to put any other colors in it. So I'm entertained, let's just say it like that. So I'm really excited to see how this looks. And as you can tell, it's so handy to have this mannequin because you can see how it looks on the shoulders. I could try it on too, and I have, but just to like walk around it and see how does it look, it's much easier than having it on me. So yes, and actually I have in mind that I want to wear this with a pair of knitted shorts I did in the spring, and you haven't seen those, I don't think so. So it's Stephen West shorts called Cables Please shorts, and I've made them slim so they're kind of like biker shorts, and with a pair of nylons and a pretty black blouse. It's just, they're just really cool. I'm just saying. And I got this copper glitter in the pockets, in the lining of the pockets, and up here and on the sides. And I used 3 different threads for the green part, so it got this really cool mild effect. And then I did deviate from the pattern a bit because I felt that it was too short on me, so I added like short rows up in the front and a bit more on the back. As you can see here, it's just worked in stockinette stitch. I could probably have been without it, because after it's been washed and used, it does. I don't need that extra material to make it fit, but it's okay. They still sit nicely. I did deviate a bit from the pattern to make it longer, because women tend to be longer in their bottom part. So just to make sure that they would fit me and not sit like too low on my butt and fall off, then I just did a bit of deviation to it. But you can go and look at the pictures on Instagram where I'm wearing it with the nylons and see how they look. They are just really, really cool and really warm. So at the moment I won't wear them, but in a few weeks they will be perfect. So I'll put the chair back here so I can sit probably see here. So what else? As I mentioned, I saw this fruity knitting podcast with Christel Seyfarth, and Christel is talking about magic balls that she uses in her fair isle, and I got really curious about that. So and also a friend of mine showed me a design with that kind of looks like it's it kind of looks like brioche knitting, but it's only like a rib knitting, but with this whole pattern. And I will insert a picture here. The name of it is Nagarray, and it's designed by I don't know if I pronounce the name right, Ayako Monier. And I was curious about to learn how to do this kind of lace pattern in rib knitting. So, and in combination with the magic balls from Christel Seyfarth talked about, and also a fascination in yellow colors, I've started a project with that. So at the moment it's knitted top down. It looks like this. This is the front with the lace pattern, and the magic balls are yarn balls that you make with a lot of different colors from the same color family. Maybe you can use something that stand out, that's okay too. You can look that also in the Fruity Knitting podcast with Christel Seyfarth about how she makes them. But the cool thing about them is that you make these different colors pop up all the time, and they are random how far they reach. And then I decided to knit it together with a mohair, and I made a magic ball with that as well. So I'm actually making the marling effect with mohair and a normal thread, and then just see what colors that appears in the design. And so far I think it looks really nice. I don't know if I particularly like that it's striped so much, but I think it will be really pretty when it's finished. So this is another project. I have quite a lot of projects going on at the moment. Then I have also a fascination of intarsia and how to learn how to knit that. And I did draw a picture once of a sweater I wanted to knit with colors that would kind of more colors that are floating up like this. In that, if you're imagining a sweater front side like this, and then the colors multiple that's floating up like this. And first I thought that I was going to use short rows to do it, but that just didn't work out. So I finally realized I needed to do intarsia. So this is how it looks right now. I have this bag of different colors. I don't know if you can tell, but it's all kind of different colors. Some are alpaca, some are glitter, some are this Japanese really neat yarn, and Surino. And it's a bit slimmer, or it's not as wide as I'd hoped for a sweater, but at the moment I don't care. I'm just gonna knit like 2 squares of that have the equal size, and then I'm gonna put them together with some kind of knitting in between on the sides, and for the neckline and for the bottom some ribbing or something, and it'll be a sweater at some point. So can you tell how the colors are kind of floating up? So that's kind of fun. It's not a technique I've used before, and I've been really nervous about intarsia because I actually did try it out last summer, but I just couldn't figure out how to do it so it looked pretty. But this time around I concentrated and looked through some YouTube tutorials and really sat down and tried to do it properly. So I think it looks pretty good, and It's got a lot of threads on the back side, and it looks pretty on the back side as well. So I think I'm doing it the right way. So I think that's kind of fun. And working out the way I want it. Yeah. What else? Ah, yeah. I'm in the West Knits Mystery Knit Along this year, of course. It's my second time, and I don't think you will mind me showing the shawl so far. I don't think I'm spoiling anything because the next clue is coming tomorrow, but if you don't want to see it, then you should probably fast forward just a couple of minutes. But this is how it looks like. My colors are a tribute to Prince. It's purple and gold. And I was supposed to knit in these two colors that the main middle star is throughout, but then I noticed a picture by an Instagram user called edla.007. She was putting Surino into the second section, and I just really love that fluffy part. So I unraveled my own section and redid it and put the glitter yarn that I had originally decided only to use with the yellow. I put it together with the purple color, and this is just so much more me to experiment and use colors differently throughout the project, instead of just two. And I was starting to knitting quite mechanically actually, and it was like, oh, it's getting boring because I don't have myself into it. So starting to doing it differently was really a relief for me. So I don't know, I just keep falling into this mechanical way of doing things. If I'm told do this, I do this, but I need to listen to my own needs, and I just really love this result. So can't wait for tomorrow. Next clue. I'm so excited. Yes, and for now I just want to talk to you about 3 new projects that I've just decided on doing. One of them is a soldotna crop top. I had actually decided not to knit it, but it just keeps coming up in my mind that I need to try to knit others' colorworks to learn how to do it, and I just really like this design. So I have decided to do it, and I will put a picture in here so you can see how it looks. And then I'm gonna grab the yarn that I've decided to use for it. And this is some of the yarn that I bought on the knitting festival. These really cool colors. And then I'm gonna pop this one in. I had this one in my stash. So how cool is this gonna be? And as you can see, this yarn is called Chaos yarn. It's a Danish dye. And then there's one also a Danish dye called Suses Spinnehjørne. I love the speckles in the gray. And some people are like, are you buying gray color? But gotta try something new. But I actually really love this colorway, so I might think of buying some more of it. And just a little pop of the pink. I don't want too much of it. It's not the dominant color. It's just gonna be a little bit. So it's gonna be great. So this is one of the projects, and then another project is another design by Charlotte Spagner, who did the Bali sweat I was wearing. And I was put a picture in here. And as you can see, it's intarsia, and it's it's supposed to be like used from your leftovers yarn, but I did buy a few yarns that I know that I'm gonna use in it. And this yarn here, isn't this amazing? It's dyed by Charlotte too. And this mohair is quite thick. It can go up to a needle size 5 to 10 millimeters. Sorry about that, but if I'm going to make that in US size, so it will be a size 8 till size 15. So quite big needles you can use for this. Oh, and this one is the other one. Look at this one. And just so you know, when I saw this orange, that's when I decided I needed it. Just because of this orange dot. I need this yarn, it's so pretty. And I have leftovers from the sweater I was starting to show you. This is one of the leftovers. And the other leftover. And yeah, and then I just decided that you can like find any like mohair and knit it with 2 threads, or you could like this one. I bought this one also from Yarn. It's actually the same colorway as this one. Isn't this pretty? If you knit this up with a pink or a gray or a blue or a curry, then each combination will look like a different color. So in this way I can use this hand-dyed yarn in many different ways, but with knitting it together with cheaper mohair yarn. So that's kind of how I try and save money. So I'm so excited. Look at this one I also got from Yarn. Isn't it pretty? So many pink projects is also on the way. And the last project is the Enchanted Mesa by Stephen West. I would put in a picture here. And the picture I'm showing you is a version that I really like. It's not colors that I would typically put together myself, but I really like it. And if I want to try out knitting with more gray color and see if I can get to love gray colors and dark colors, beige colors. So that's also a learning point for me. So I have already found yarns that can go in it, and I won't take it out. I'm just gonna show you this box full of colors. So these could go into it. This one is also, I think it's also a Danish dyer by Killerich, with these small structures in it. Tweed, I think it's called. I really like that. What else? This one is also from hand dyed. And this one I bought in Amsterdam, the True Blue. I think this one would be cool in it, or maybe just small sections. Yeah, and then just any leftover that I have of different kinds. So actually this one, I bought this in America this summer. No, I didn't buy it, sorry. I got it from my friend. She got it for me. She was so sweet. It's 100% alpaca and it's really soft. I think I might be able to use it for this project. Sorry. So I think that is what I have for today. At the moment, I want to wrap this up just with a few words, because Last time I was telling you that I have decided to stop writing patterns for a while and give myself a break, and it's something that I really need. I can really tell that I'm excited to get this Fringes and Pearls sweater out and on Ravelry for sale, and then after that I feel that I can fully relax and just try on just enjoying all the knitting I can do, and I want to enjoy colors and techniques from other designers to learn and make my own just try out designs without having to think about that they are going to be patterns, and just gonna have some time just to relax a lot. And I have already shown you projects with different learning points that I'm excited to do, and I also have interested in learning 3D knitting. I really enjoy the knitting that Olga Jassy makes, so those that's one of them. And then when I was knitting the test knit of Fringes and Pearls sweater, my own design, I had some more ideas for making projects with fringes in, and I don't have a clear project in mind that I'm going to do, but I think when it's rest a bit, I might have to try something out with more fringes. I got this really cool idea that, yeah, I think I have to try it out. Yeah, so I just need to learn a lot and have fun and use a lot of lovely colors and relax, and then I'm gonna make a few podcasts here and there just to keep you updated with the projects, because I guess there's quite a lot going on here, and when you have most your day to knit, then you can get a lot of things done. But this October is just looking great. We have the mystery knit along with West Knit, and my design is probably coming out in October, and the fall colors, and it's just gonna be a nice time. So I think that's a wrap from here. I'm gonna write down below in the notes all the references I've been talking about, the designs, so you can look those up if you're interested. And I'm gonna try and put pictures in the video so you can see the designs I've been talking about. And then yeah, if you like what you have seen today, please give me a thumbs up, and also you can follow me on Instagram. Look up MereteKdesign. I'm also writing my Instagram name below, and I just hope you will have a really lovely day and a lovely October, and talk to you later. Bye bye.